So welcome back, everybody. We're over at my buddy JP's right here, and he's the one that bought my Solis tractor, parked over in the background right here. So he just had a few trees cut down, some massive trees. Look at this oak pile that we have right here. So I've brought my American CLS animal splitter over because even though he bought my old splitter, this is a heck of a lot of work right here. So this beast should absolutely handle it. We can run nice and quick with 2 people feeding and loading it. I've got my 4-way wedge. Some of this stuff's so massive we'll have to use single-way wedge on it just to get it initially busted. And more importantly, this has the log lift on it, which is gonna save our backs. This looks like, I would say, water oak, which is some of my favorite oak right here. We got all various sizes. The tree service company went ahead and cut it up for us. And the plan is just to toss it straight into my dump trailer right here. I'm gonna haul some home, and then he's got a wood rack over here where we are going to load some of that up. And then to help move all this around, you can see I brought my little Solis tractor with the grapple. He's got his right here, and this is the one, hopefully you just seen this episode. I just put the diverter valve on for him, and he bought this Titan attachment grapple, so we're gonna be using some of that today. There's that diverter valve I just put in. So now his little tractor, my old tractor, has a grapple. That's gonna be a huge help for moving all these trees around. All right, so we're at a moment we need to reposition. As y'all just seen, way over there, we dumped a full cord of wood. We just started back splitting. We've got probably close to a half a cord right here, maybe a little more, but we have cleaned this area completely out. Now, look, we still have a ton of wood. There's probably about 3.5 cords of wood that we're gonna split here. So my buddy JP's coming in with his tractor and grapple. This is actually his first time ever running a grapple. We just installed that for him. He's gonna start picking this stuff up, pushing it. We wanna get in some shade. This splitting in the sun, oh, it's no fun. And then we'll just keep picking away at all this, moving further back into the shade. Nice. That grapple's doing a good job. All right, he's doing good. It takes a little while to learn techniques for grapples. Nice, got 3 at one time right there. Well, here we are next day. After some much needed rest, my friend and I wound up splitting. It was about 2.5 cords yesterday, and then we had to do a lot of cleanup and tractor work. Otherwise, we probably would have split about 3 cords. He still has quite a few firewood rounds that he's going to split up this coming fall. All right, y'all seen that we gave him a dump trailer and dumped everybody's wood rack. Then we filled me up an entire dump trailer. This should be 1 cord of wood is my guess. This is a 7x14 dump trailer. And it's my understanding, I've never did it before, this should be a cord, maybe even a little more mounted over. But what we're gonna do is go grab 3 firewood totes. This is what I stack in, and 3 of those packed tight is typically about 1/4 of wood. So it's gonna be nice to see if 1 dump trailer load fills up 3, fills up more than 3, or less than 3. When you look at it like this, it looks like a ton of wood, but it's loosely tossed. And don't get me wrong, it is a lot of wood. But loosely tossed wood will vanish quick when you start stacking it. Now this was all tree service wood, so some of it's way too long to fit in my totes, like that's 20 some odd inches. I'll throw that to the side for say our big fire pit. It doesn't care about the size, but the majority of stuff's in the 16 to 18 inch range, which is what customers are looking for. And this is all beautiful, relatively straight grain. We did run into some pretty bad knots and stuff, but this is water oak. Just a fantastic firewood down here. All right, so Tiffany's gonna help me stack all this, but before we do it, I've got to go get several totes ready. I'm running out of totes. I need to clean a few out, but we need to cut some up. All right, so I have got a few of these IBC totes ready to be cut up. Hopefully no snakes up underneath here. We've sure seen plenty of them here lately. We'd come in and get these with the tractor, but these limbs are starting to get in the way. I got to do more pruning. Never-ending job for me. All right, the easiest way I found to take care of these, Sawzall with a good metal cutting blade. Look out. All right, I'm all set up. We got this tote over here. It's gonna get the odd shaped stuff that I'm not gonna sell. Any naughty stuff, we'll just throw that in our big fire pit. And then we're just gonna start stacking premium wood that needs to dry for many, many months that we can potentially sell. And look who I've got helping me today. Yep, Tiffany decided to come out and help. We're doing it while it's nice and early and still a little cool, although quite humid. And we have two helpers over here today. Ruger, Mally. Ruger has his girlfriend over here with him. Yeah, Mally. Well, right by me. So a lot of people asked who this animal was in one of our last episodes. That's Ruger's girlfriend, Mally, and we are babysitting her for a couple of days while her mama and we'll say grandparents are on vacation enjoying themselves. Got you a stick, girl? You got you a stick? So it's good having them here because Ruger gets lots of exercise when Mally's around. All right, y'all can have those sticks, but you can't have those sticks. Let's get after it. All right, so some interesting results for those that are interested. Big 7x14 dump trailer. I had it mounted over really good. Actually wound up with about 4 totes. So to my calculations, that's a little over a cord. So I'm starting to think a 7x14 trailer with 2-foot tall sides, if you'll fill up to at least the side height loosely tossed, that should be about a cord. But I still have to verify that. If you mount it way up and over like I did, it looks like it is a cord and almost a quarter and a third, something like that. Let's just say cord and a quarter. So this is what I'm left with, and I've got several totes out there we're gonna look at, plus something kind of cool I wanna show y'all I'm excited about. So because it was tree service wood, nothing was measured and cut, that's okay. I wound up with a bunch of long pieces, so I stacked them like this in a tote so I can verify it. And then I wound up with some of my typical 16 to 18 inch pieces, stacked them normal ways in the totes. Now when I pull up, I can clearly see the difference. I'm gonna have to finish topping these off, but that put into here would almost be a full tote. Now coming over here, we have 2 totes. This is 16 to 18 inch stuff, premium, awesome oak right here. 3 totes, some more short stuff because of the way I stacked it. 4 totes. And you can tell because I did it a long ways, not my normal way of stacking. This would be perfect for my fire pit or like camp customers. They don't care, they'll burn bigger wood. This isn't for stoves or fireplaces. And then this tote was mostly full of what I was calling ash, but everybody's saying it's something different, and I topped it off with some more oak. So 1 back up there for sure if you add this little bit to it. 2, 3, 4. So 4+ totes out of a mounted 7x14 trailer. That's better than I was expecting. All right, what I'm excited about, y'all, for my firewood people, I just split this tote a few weeks ago. And remember I told you I'm just gonna experiment. I did not put a cover on top, and I've left it out here where it's getting sun, you know, at least on 3 sides all day long, and I have some exciting results. This wood, if I can go back and find some of the footage, when I was splitting it, it was literally mushing water out just a few weeks ago. I have never seen wood dry this fast. I'm gonna start spacing my totes out a little more, as you can see I did with those, to get airflow and sun, and quit packing so tight. Look at how quick this wood is drying. Just a few weeks in the sun. I've never seen bark come off this quick. I mean, bark is coming completely off. The wood's checking and splitting. I am tempted to bust one of these open. Maybe we'll do that toward the end of the episode when I get back on my splitter, bust a couple of them open and check the moisture. All right, still got a lot of work ahead of us. Let's go drop off the dump trailer, hook up to the tilt deck, and go pick up all of our equipment. All right, so now that everything is put up, cleaned up, I can breathe for a minute. Something I've been thinking about since I showed y'all. I've been thinking about it the last few hours, and the way I want to finish my day in this video, I want to see how dry this wood is. Literally only been out for a few weeks. I'll try to go back and research that and include it in this video right here, as in how long ago I split this wood and how long it's been drying. All right, so let's go with, I mean, look, bark is just popping off. I've never seen bark pop off so quick. Let's go with the standard size firewood chunk up top right here. And to keep the test fair, let's grab, this is the backside, never sees sun, but man, it's getting piles of wind and it's just been hot. Let me see if I can grab a chunk out of the middle that's a really good size, like say that one. I may have to put the camera down to get it so we can get a realistic expectation. All right, I was able to get it loose. Awesome. Now I will say to the touch, that already actually feels a little damp, or it might just be that feels cool. That could be the problem. Let's shove something else in here before I go off and forget about it. All right, so this is the best case scenario up top, and there's another reason I'm really excited to do this test, because for the first time ever, I didn't put a top on there. I think people have a big misconception about wood absorbing moisture when it rains. I don't think it does. I think it constantly releases it. This is not necessarily a sponge. And I hate the way all those plastic tops look. It looks like a junkyard over there, but regular wood in the totes looks so much better to the eye. And seeing how quick that bark come off, I'm really thinking about here moving forward, not using the plastic tops. Ugh, they just look nasty. Yeah, that means I'll get some leaves and stuff in there I'll have to blow out before I sell to a customer. And then here is our worst case scenario. Feels kind of heavy, feels cool. No sunshine, out of the middle of the stack, and very thick. All right, I left it somewhat attached so y'all can see there was no trickery here. Take my handy dandy moisture meter. All right, you can see that it says low on the humidity. Let's check the outside. It doesn't even read. That is fantastic. All right, here is the inside. Uh-oh. Yeah, I got up to 44% still. Very wet. Misleading, isn't it? Well, I know to not even split this other one, but we'll go ahead and split it. All right, obviously I'm expecting this one to be just as high, if not higher, but 44 is already crazy high. All right, outside, oh yeah, see, we're reading 25 on the outside. That one's getting no sun. Here's the inside. Surprisingly, let's try somewhere else. Surprisingly less moisture. There we go, 45%. I was about to say almost less moisture than one at top. That makes no sense. But I am happy to see they're nice and even. So that means the top's not gonna be super dry before the middle is. So 45%, that is still extremely, extremely high. We've got to get to 20% or lower before I'd ever sell this. I'm hoping by the end of this firewood season, which is many months from now, leaving that test tote out in the sun, getting full sunlight on 3 sides, full airflow. I'm trying to see if we can rapid dry hardwoods in potentially like 4 to 6 months here in Florida. May be impossible. Now there's certain things like water oaks, which are unbelievably dense here and just chock full of moisture. They're called water oak for a reason. They grow near water and they literally pour water out of them when you cut them. Realistically, those need anywhere from 1 to sometimes 2 years to dry correctly. But here in the Florida sun, I have found 12 months has it an acceptable level to sell. All right, y'all keep reminding me every few months, let's pop a piece, let's test. I want to see how quick we can potentially get a tote of dried hardwood ready. And this is because I keep kicking around the idea of doing a solar kiln. I've talked about this. I've thought about it for a couple of years. I don't think I want to move forward with it, especially if I can, in 4 to 6 months, have wood dried. That's fast enough for me for what I split. Would I love to be able to have some dried in a few weeks? Certainly, but, well, we just don't sell enough, I think, to really justify it. Plus, there's so many other channels doing solar kilns. It's not like it'd be a new creative and fun idea for me to do on the channel to gain some attention. So yeah, that was a couple days of work, but ultimately it was about helping a friend out. Thank goodness I have awesome pieces of equipment like this little tractor and this amazing splitter. And in the process, I wound up bringing home a few $100s worth of firewood too, to help offset some of the expense, the time taken off to do it, the fuel. But again, it was about helping a friend out. And I just happen to have a little bonus in the process. All right, y'all, if it'll ever cool off, we're gonna do a lot more of this. I saved my firewood splitting for the wintertime when I'm not out here sweating to death. We'll catch you on the next one.